Alright, so let's make some bendy text in Cinema 4D, shall we? Alright, so I think the first thing we're going to need to do is just create a spline, not an empty spline. We need to get our pen tool, go into our front view here, and let's just create a spline. Alright, so we're going to try to make an M. I think that's what I want to try to do first. So to make it bendy, we're going to have to kind of pre-plan that we're going to bend it probably like halfway up the actual letter. So what we'll do is let's just sketch this out really quick. So basically going to kind of make something that looks like an A. Boop. And just, because you can see when we actually fold this, it's gonna form an M, capital M. So let's just keep drawing here and closed out the spline there. And we'll just do some tweaking here just to make this look a little bit better. Now, this is the first time I'm really experimenting with how to really achieve this kind of bendy text look. So, I'm sure there's a few ways we can go about achieving it. But the main thing right now is just trying to make this spline so throughout the entirety of our text here, or our spline, it's going to have a equal thickness. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I think that's looking pretty good. This side's a little bit thin right here. So I think that's pretty good. Now, once we got our spline looking good, we'll throw this into a extrude. So here's our M spline and our M extrude. So now we actually have some geometry we can play around with. M extrude. Alright, so let's not give it any thickness right now. So we have our little object here. Let's give it some color, shall we? Give it this kind of blue-ish kind of thing, or maybe this dark blue with some reflection. And let's get our bend object in here. Now, to make this work, since we have an extrude, we'll have to actually just group all of these objects together. So typically, for a bend to work on anything, you would make it a child, but since we have an extrude, you really can't make it a child of that, because that would just not work very well. So we're going to have to just group everything together, and since it's on the same level in the hierarchy, that bend is going to then affect that extrude. So this can be the M. We'll do the bendy M. And let's see, is this our left view here? Yeah. So now we have our bend object, and let's go ahead and we got the bend. The bend is always, never fails, is always in the wrong orientation. We got to fix that. So I think, let's see, that's actually going backwards. So let's rotate it 180 and let's go. Yeah, so now it's bending forward, but we have some really weird jankiness going on. So to fix that, we'll have to go into our spline here, or let's see, let's try the extrude. And the problem here is if I go to my line shading here, you can see that we don't really have any lines giving definition to our geometry here. So what we can do to change that is by going in our cap settings and making some quadrangles, and that's giving us a lot more geometry, a lot more subdivisions that we can actually bend now. But we are having some weird janky issues coming in here. So let's see what's going on there. So you can see what's happening there. So I think that's due to our, that's our angle on our spline. So we need enough definition on our spline, and that kind of fixed everything like that. So now we have our bendy flat object here, and you'll notice once we shrink this bend deformer, so we'll need it to bend all the way over, we'll turn on the keep y-axis length, and then let's adjust. So here's our side view here. You can see what's happening. Shrink this down so now you can actually see the bend, and you can adjust the size, so how much of an arc you want in your actual object on your bendy text. But you can see that by bending that, basically that A, we are creating that M. So now I can move this bend deformer up, and that's the nice thing about making your deformer in the same level of the hierarchy, because then you can move it independently of the object that you're bending. So now if I render this, we have a really cool kind of bendy M. We still have some like weird janky issues here. Let's see if we can go into, see if changing the quadrangles, if that really fixes it at all. Maybe go triangles. No, that really doesn't fix it. Let's see. Let's go back into our spline, and let's go from adaptive to subdivided. And subdivided is really handy because it does two things. It interpolates based on the angle and also the maximum length that you want between 2 points. So if I really crank this up a lot, you'll see that we're losing some geometry, but then we can also do the angle and then even get some definition there. So you're controlling intermediate points by the angle between 2 points and then just the length between 2 points. So you can really fine tune how this looks. So let's see, I think as long as we have this maximum length pretty low, don't want to get too low, but I think that cleaned up our mesh here. Looking good. So now what I can do is kind of tweak this, because right here we have a lot more thickness than we do on the sides here. So what we can do is go into our spline, and you can see that we can actually, let me get out of interactive render region there, we can actually adjust this and see how it's going to look when it's bent as well. So we still have that bend deformer, and we're just adjusting this spline, and you can see it right up here how it's being affected with the bend deformer applied to it. So we're adjusting the spline, and we can see live feedback, which is pretty handy, because then we can tweak the heck out of this. So let's move this up, and again we're just trying to get the same kind of thickness in here as we do on the outside. So just doing a little tweakage action. Move this over a little bit. I think that's pretty good. Move this up a little bit more. Shrink it, scale that down. And I think we're looking pretty good. Move that up. All right. So now we render that. We have some really nice bendy text. We can go and adjust where our bend is to kind of figure out how we want this M to look. So you can get a little creative with how you position your bend. And say you want a little bit of thickness to this, we'll just increase the thickness on our extrude. And we can then add some caps to round out our edges. Let's add some steps to our fillet caps. So you can see right there, we're getting it's a little too thick. We just want some really nice rounded edges right here. It's looking good. Cool, so there's our M. Now, let's see. Let's actually make it so this bend is actually 180 degrees. So we're getting a full 180 turn on this. And we can also adjust with the size how big of an arc this is. Whoa. Just like so. And there we are. So there's our bendy text. Let's try another one. Why not? So there's our M. Let's just turn that off. Let's create, let's see. How about an E? So again, you kind of have to visualize how you're going to want to do this. So I'm thinking we have the E come out like this. Let me actually just draw. Let me see if I can sketch. Where's that little handy dandy doodle paint? Yeah, there we go. So we have the E that will come out like this. And then we'll have the middle part. And so since this will bend, we'll actually bend horizontally. So maybe I'll have the middle part of the E come over here. So probably have to make this middle part thicker. And then have the bottom of the E like so. So we'll bend this side to this side, and this part will then shift over to here. And again, we just got to make sure this middle section is large enough. Doodle tool, yay! All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Go ahead and get our pen tool, and we'll just draw this. Basically draw what I sketched, and so the pen tool, this is the new pen tool in R17. It's pretty awesome. It's if you're familiar with using Illustrator, I would say this kind of rivals the pen tool in Illustrator. So it's very intuitive, really easy to use, really easy to just come in here. And the nice part is you can actually see where your path is where your spline is gonna go before you even hit your next, click your next point, which is really cool. So let's go ahead, and so now we're gonna make sure this middle section is thick enough. And then we're going to draw our other part of our E, the little middle arm. I think those are called little arms or appendage, whatever thingies they are. And just finish this off now. And complete the spline. And now we can just go and clean this up a little bit. Like never create a spline correctly the right way. Always need to go back in here and tweak a bunch of crap. So again, we want to make sure that this thickness is about double what we have here. And right now our middle appendage isn't as thick as what we have there. So let's fix that and make sure. And this is just kind of like eyeballing it. I really should be using like snapping and really positioning this with the grids, but whatever. We're just flying by the seat of our pants here and having fun anyways. So let's see, that looks good. Let's make sure this bottom part lines up. And I think if we select these two, we can actually Yeah, we can actually line them up by zeroing out the size on the Y. So let's do the same thing here. Zero out the Y. So these 2 points are lined up. And I believe we can do the same thing and zero out the X. Oh, see, then that will get rid of the curve. So got to be careful with that. So you might want to just see what the value is on the X. So 145, and then just plug that into that other point too. So we can do the same thing with these. So X, we'll just do 145. Whoop, that was a lot more than 145. So there we go. So now all these points line up. So we are kind of do a little bit better than eyeballing it. And just round that out really nice. Let's line these suckers up. Zero out them in the X. Same thing for these guys. Oh, see, I did it again. So let's say that's 33, and then 33 in the X position there. So these guys are lined up. Okay, so this is looking pretty dang good. Let's make sure, did I line these guys up? Just ever so slightly off. All right, so let's line these guys up too. Oh, so let's say that's 10, negative 10. This is negative 10. All right. So let's make sure this is just a flat surface there. And that up. It's flat there. All right. What do you think? Is that enough tweaking on a freaking spline? It's probably really boring. Okay. Let's go ahead, and now we can do the same thing. Extrude. I think we probably, now that I'm looking at this, we'll probably need to move these guys down. So we're going to double the thickness here, and again, just eyeballing it. And so we got our extrude. Let's go a regular view here. We already got some thickness. So again, we're just going to do the same exact thing we did with our M extrude. This will be our E extrude. E spline. So we had all the subdivisions here. Our quadrangles were turned on, so we'll just do the same thing with this. And again, our spline, we needed to do the subdivided spline, so we'll do the same thing here. And now let's just go ahead and duplicate this bend. Group the bend with the extrude, group that together, and this will be bendy E. Bendy E. And turn that on. And first thing I need to do is actually, let me just bring in a brand new bend, because that just kind of blew everything out. So let's see. So again, bend is in the wrong direction, as always. Typical bend deformer. Let's get this in the right way here. See, like that. And basically we'll want to line this up to this middle part. Again, keep y-axis length. I think, yeah, we should get some nice smooth bends. Just we'll just zero out the movement for now. Let's position our bend. Let's actually scale our bend down here a little bit, so we can actually see the full bend. And right now we're going 392. We just need 180. So we just need just a curve at 180. Let's bring the scale down in the Y here, and then we can just move this, and there is our bendy E. So Again, we can shrink this even more to get this even sharper curve. Let's see if our mesh is okay. Whoa. So we got a little weirdness going up at the top here. You can even see it overhead. So we might need to go into either our spline or maybe our quadrangle. Try to fix that. Let's see, what's the major malfunction with this guy? Maybe, do I need to make this taller? Nope. Maybe I need to mess around with the actual spline itself. So let's do that. Let's see if that's gonna fix anything. So you can see this little weird archy thing happening. I think it might just be on the top. I think it's just on the top there. I'm just trying to move things around to see what the culprit is on this. So it's a little weird right there too. Man, the M was so much easier. What am I missing here? Let's do our fillet caps. Bring this down fairly low. Is not liking the bend deformer. Some really weird stuff going on. And no matter how, I wonder if it's because, let's see if it's because our spline, I wonder if our splines are on different parts of the Z. And that's it. That's it. So we have a little bit different Z depth, and that's what's creating that. So we'll just zero everything out. We want this on the same plane. Bam. Fixed it. So at some point, so you can even see in the overhead view, here's our spline. I must have accidentally pulled one of these points out, so they're not on the same Z coordinate. So they're a little bit off. So once I zeroed that out, that took care of our little issue. So now I can go back, and I think all this is a little overkill, so I can go back in here and get rid of the excess geometry here. Still want to make this look nice and smooth. So let's see. Let's go and maybe make this middle part a little bit thicker. Move this a little bit over. So actually, I just want to like overlap this part with that. So let's bring in these little arms. Bring the armies in like that. And we'll bring this side in a little bit too. And let's see. Let's just see if I can just make that a little bit thicker in the middle here. And right now we need to adjust so these edges are nice and curved. What happened here? Doesn't look good. Let's bring this in here. There we go. Whoa. What happened at the top? Let's see what I did there. In the bottom. Man, I just screwed that all up. Way to go, me. Let's see. I wonder if I'll have to just bring up the if this is a just mesh subdivision issue. Looks like it may be. Yeah, so now it's nice and rounded. I don't know what happened there. Must be something with just the angle of the curves causing that little crunchiness happening. Alright, now we can move over our bend a little bit more, so we're just overlapping that back portion of the E. And man, having some weirdness going on here too. Let's make this thick again. Let's create single object. Does that do anything? No. Let's see, what was the thickness on this? This was 4. Give this 3. Actually, what was 4? Let's give this 4. 4. And see, our fillet steps are 4 and the radius were 5, so we'll match that. And throw on that blue texture there. Boom, there's our folded E. So let's see, in relation to the M, yeah, our M was way bigger. So let's change that. Let's increase the size of our E. Move this guy down. So now I think what's going on is now we have way too much subdivision since we just increased the size. So now it's really slowing down my scene. Here we go. So whoop. Move this whole entire thing over. Let's move our bend. So I think that's about the same size as our M. And now we just screwed a lot of stuff up, huh? We just screwed a lot of stuff up right there. So now we got this weird stuff happening there too. Man, this E is not being nice with me. Let's adjust this. Let's adjust, okay. Adjusting the maximum length there kind of helped. Let's see if adjusting the quadrangle. So I'm almost thinking if there's a better way to do this, like maybe with a cloth object or something like that. Maybe just making some flat polygons and doing it like that. I'll have to mess around with that a little bit more. So let's see. So yeah, right here overhead. There's some weirdness. Yeah, we'll increase that maximum length. So you can see the angle is adjusting the angle between 2 points. So that's kind of getting rid of or losing some of the angle. And then there's always a threshold of 5 centimeters between points, always working there. So I think we fixed it. Did we fix it? Does this look good? I think we fixed it. But now I think that I'm looking at it, this middle portion is a little bit too thick. So we can easily fix that. Just bring this in a little bit, moving over our bend. It's a little bit still too thick. Move it over just a little bit more. There we go. That looks good. It looks like constant width, constant thickness. So there is our bendy E. And again, we can increase the size. Let's see what the size was for this. Let's call this 160. I'm super anal retentive about having nice rounded numbers in here. So let's go 160 on the bend. There we go. Still having some weird stuff happening up here. Darn it. I think that fixed it. Okay. Oh, come on. Look at that. What the heck, man? So let's just double check that I didn't screw anything up with the Z. Okay. That's all good. Okay, cool. At least that wasn't a me problem. I just really think that I need to just add a lot more definition there. Okay, so I think really, I mean, you can see how highly subdivided this sucker is. So I'm gonna maybe have to think of a different way to do this. And I hope to do some tutorial later about this, but I think I gotta go back to the drawing board a little bit as to how to make this look good or work well enough, because I think this doing the extrude is a little bit of a pain in the butt. I mean, it worked well with the M. I didn't have a lot of issues with the M, but holy crap, this E, not cool. Not cool at all. So right now I'm just kind of adjusting the thickness to match the thickness of the M. So this kind of matches. So I think that's pretty good. And adjust this bend again. Whoop. All right. Maybe even make just because how wide our M is. I think what I might want to do is just extend the E appendages like so, just so it's a little bit more boxy. Move this out. All right. So let's see the bend. I think by scaling that down, my bend size got messed up. So let me just make this back to 160 again. So they're both same width of bend. Let's zero out our camera. Line this up. Move these guys over. Boom. Render. So there we go. We got some bendy text. I wonder if this looks cooler at a separate angle here. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see what this would look like if I put the E and like kind of push it down into that M. Like so. Let's see what that looks like. Meh. I need an H. It's kind of meh. What about this? What about this? That looks kind of cool. Kinda cool. All right, so let's say that's done. That's done. So I think that's it. I think I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board. I'm gonna try another way to do this. 'Cause I feel like there's a better way than doing the subdivision and all this stuff. I feel like there, especially with the E, with all of these dang subdivisions, I don't know. Thinking that, let's see, if I just had like a flat plane Z, and so here's my guy there, and just make this like this. So what I'm thinking is you throw this into a subdivision surface. We got that nice rounding. Let's make that editable. Let's extrude this. Man, I don't know. I don't know if that's really gonna extrude this guy down here. Whoop. We wanted that on. Preserve groups. So now, let's just see if this will actually work. Move this up. So this is a little bit of modeling kind of stuff. So it takes a little bit more modeling knowledge than just an extrude. Okay, so now let's see if we put a bend on this guy, if the quality will be better. So let's 90 degrees. Yeah, and let's see. I think we did that. That's yep. We need to go 90 degrees that way. We'll shrink the size. Make this even more. So now, yeah, we're still getting a little weird stuff going on. Oh, keep y-axis length. This is 180. So, I don't know. I don't know if this will work. So what we might need to do, so we have this weird arcing, and I don't know if I put this in a cloth. I really don't think that's gonna help. No, because then it's just subdividing that crappiness. So yeah, this is you have to be way more mindful of subdivisions and where they are. So if I made this thinner, I'd need to make a cut right there and then bend it, and now it's a little bit better, but that's so much more work. Man, so I don't know if that's really a good plan. I think maybe my original way is the way to go. Yeah, that's just too much work. That's a pain in the buttocks. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I know what I want to do. So that was basically it. I think that's what I'm gonna do for a tutorial. I'm gonna make a little bendy guy here with some bendy text. Using the extrude, the bend. Yeah. So I think that'll work. I think that's a better way to do it than doing a whole bunch of modeling. So at least this doesn't take any modeling. It takes a little bit of tweaking, some options here, but anytime you can save yourself from modeling, especially when you suck at modeling as much as I do, this is the way to go. All right, well, that was my stream. Made some bendy text. Had a lot of fun along the way. And maybe you'll see a tutorial on this very thing that's way more prepared and cooler looking than this. All right, well, everyone enjoy your Friday. I am out. Bye-bye.